Noam Chomsky recently appeared on Democracy Now!, and I thought that he did a phenomenal job articulating the extent to which Republicans no longer just pose a threat to Americans, but they now pose an existential threat to humanity. And this is not a hyperbolic statement, and he kind of goes through the reasons as to why this is the case. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he had to say, and then I have a lot to say about this.
I mean, has there ever been an organization in human history that is dedicated with such commitment to the destruction of organized human life on Earth? Not that I'm aware of. Is the Republican organization, I hesitate to call it a party, committed to that? Overwhelmingly. There isn't even any question about it. Take a look at the last primary campaign. Plenty of publicity. Very little comment on the most significant fact. Every single candidate either denied that what is happening, namely serious move towards environmental catastrophe, or there were a couple of moderates, so-called, Jeb Bush, who said, maybe it's happening, we really don't know, but it doesn't matter because fracking is working fine, so we can get more fossil fuels. Then there was the guy who was called the adult in the room, John Kasich, the one person who said, yes, it's true, global warming's going on, but it doesn't matter. He's the governor of Ohio. In Ohio, we're going to go on using coal for energy, and we're not going to apologize for it. So that's 100% commitment to racing towards disaster. Then take a look at what's happened since. The November 8th was the election. There was, as most of you know, I'm sure, a very important conference underway in Marrakesh, Morocco. Almost roughly 200 countries at the United Nations-sponsored conference, which was the goal of which was to put some specific commitments into the verbal agreements that were reached at Paris in December 2015, the preceding international conference on global warming. The Paris conference did intend to reach a verifiable treaty, but they couldn't because of the most dangerous organization in human history. The Republican Congress would not accept any commitments. So therefore, the world was left with verbal promises, but no commitments. Well, last November 8th, they were going to try to carry that forward. On November 8th, in fact, there was a report by the World Meteorological Organization, very dire analysis of the state of the environment and the likely prospects. Also pointed out that we're coming perilously close to the tipping point which was the goal. The goal of the Paris negotiations was to keep things below that, coming very close to it, and other ominous predictions. At that point, the conference pretty much stopped because the news came in about the election. And it turns out that the most powerful country in human history, the richest, most powerful, most influential, the leader of the free world, has just decided not only not to support the efforts, but actively to undermine them. So there's the whole world on one side, literally, at least trying to do something or other. Not enough, maybe, although some places are going pretty far, like Denmark, a couple of others. And on the other side, in splendid isolation, is the country led by the most dangerous organization in human history, which is saying, we're not part of this. In fact, we're going to try to undermine it.
So he poses the question that I want to respond to. He says, has there ever been an organization in human history that is dedicated with such commitment to the destruction of organized human life on Earth? And I think the answer, honestly, is no. Because if you are the party, if you're one of two parties in the world's most powerful country, both economically and militarily, you have a huge influence on world affairs, not just the United States. So, I mean, it's already a problem that they refuse to put forward policies to mitigate climate change. However, it gets worse when you see that they're actively trying to undo progress that we've made, and we haven't made much progress towards climate change. We have not done much to assuage this threat, yet they are undoing what little progress we've made. Now, what's interesting to me is that we're now seeing Donald Trump actually trying to cripple departments that view climate change as a national security threat. In fact, The Intercept had a great article about this. So when you look at certain government departments, like the Department of Homeland Security, the State Department, the Defense Department, well, under the tenure of Obama, they began to characterize climate change as a national security threat, and rightfully so, because think about it this way. If it were the case that there was a hostile foreign country that threatened to annex a large portion of Florida, wouldn't we act immediately? Of course we would. But we have climate change, and, a result of climate change will be rising sea levels, which will put part of Florida underwater, and they're not acting. They're not treating that as the security threat that it really is. And it's not just about our territorial integrity. We're talking about food security as well. I mean, this will affect crops. Certain regions of the world may benefit from, warmer climate, but other areas will not. And this will cause mass migration, new diseases to come up once the ice caps melt that we won't know how to deal with, ancient diseases, and they're doing everything they can to undermine what little progress we've made, and I think this makes them an enemy of human beings. I mean, if you're behaving in this way that's irrational, that's against human interests, then you're trying to end the species. And the climate change tipping point is so close that we have no time to act. I mean, there's already going to be consequences that will come to fruition due to climate change that we won't be able to control. But, what we have to do now is try to mitigate climate change as much as we can, and we also have to focus simultaneously on adaptation, because climate change is happening. The planet is warming, and we can't reverse that. So we also have to learn how to adapt if we do want to survive as a species. And we're getting to the point where that may not be possible. So it really feels like we're in the last days of humanity, because the Republican Party, with all their hubris, they refuse to do anything about it. And they're trying to gaslight us and make us think that we're crazy for believing in this. And they claim it, don't buy into this conspiracy theory. If 97 to 99% of scientists are telling you something is an issue, it's not a conspiracy, it's a fact. And if you think that climate change is a conspiracy, then you also should question gravity and whether or not the Earth is flat. Although I shouldn't say that, because there are enough idiots that actually think that. And another aspect of climate change is, we consider how this will impact us, with more extreme weather patterns and more drought, less water for us, mass famine. But we don't think about the other aspects of climate change, like ocean acidification. I mean, think about how much ocean life will be killed off because of us. It's really, it's so sad. So, I mean, it's not just going to be humans that will go extinct as a result of climate change. It's going to be a lot of other species. And I just find it so sickening. We don't know if humans will survive this. We honestly do not know. We are killing ourselves, and Republicans are doing everything they can to accelerate the extinction of humanity. They're enemies of human beings. They really are, and we have to start characterizing them as such, because they are existential threats to the human species. That's what this has come down to. That's not hyperbolic to say. And even if it's the case that, it turns out that all of us liberals are just kooky and we're wrong, then we still win. If we move towards clean, renewable energy, we all still win because we pollute less. So, tackling climate change is a win-win for all of us. It would be an economic boom to move towards renewable energy, but this tight hold that the oil and gas industry has on Congress, because they want their subsidies, corporate welfare, every single year, it's preventing the Republican Party from taking action. And it's no longer acceptable. the Republicans are an enemy of the species, and we need to actually view them as such. This segment of the Humanist Report is sponsored by Lunar Data Systems, who launched an Indiegogo campaign to fund production for the Pluto project, which is a computer monitor designed to ensure the utmost privacy through the use of glasses that allows only you to see what's on your computer monitor. And if you think this looks cool, which it does, they are offering these perks to supporters of the campaign. Support their Indiegogo campaign to fund the Pluto project by visiting the link down below.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com. Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.